Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now September 20th of 2024, and there's been a lot of things going on over at the Walt Disney Company between Bob Iger, the Disney executives, the board of directors, and many of the creatives behind many different projects associated with either Lucasfilm, Marvel Studios, or many of the upcoming Disney live-action remakes based on animated classics. And that brings us to Snow White, the live-action remake, that, by the way, stars Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, and it is already a disaster beyond belief because of how much money is going into this, how much bad press it's getting, the criticism, the backlash, whatever have you. It is not working well for Bob Iger, and it's most certainly not working well for any of the executives over at Disney. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing that we know about Rachel Zegler, and we've talked about this many times, is that she's very much a self-absorbed actress, one that really believes that the world should revolve around her. This is why she's very overly demanding on set, especially for Snow White 2025, and there's been a lot of things going on with this production of how she is indeed labeled by the director Mark Webb himself as difficult to work with, quote-unquote, but it gets worse beyond that. Now, there's been a lot of things going on with the production of this film, based on, of course, how Snow White created a domino effect on Rachel Zegler's career over at Disney after she was fired and removed from several projects. The only connection that she has right now is with the current Snow White film, and that is it. After that, it is a complete cutoff to the Walt Disney Company. But what's interesting about this has a lot more to do with the overall impact and how she's taking it, and it goes beyond any kind of, thing that you would even begin to realize. Now, with the Walt Disney Company and many of its divisions going through endless setbacks and challenges, one monumental development going on right now has more to do with Rachel Zegler and the ongoing drama related to Snow White. A crucial update to this situation now involves Zegler and how she recently went on a tirade with the Disney executives after the firing and removal of herself from various Disney projects were finalized and officially shelved that initially were going to pay Rachel Zegler $25 million, altogether that she believed was finalized within her own contract. Now, this was a combination of Project Blue Wave, of course, the Pirates reboot film, a Snow White sequel, and two other untitled Disney projects that were going to be announced this holiday season, some of which are not moving forward at all anymore, since Disney will not be seeking a recast. Already, Zegler and her team, which consists of her agent and manager, are already preparing to deliver a massive statement to the general public about studio interference and pulling the blame game on toxic fans. Now, her statement is prepared to be read like a speech on all forms of social media by this fall, sometime, that will be organized by Zegler herself as a way to create some kind of leverage against the Disney heads to create a wave of Zegler backers that will basically and essentially protect her career. Now, this all comes in the wake after Zegler had multiple heated and argumentative conversations with not just the, of course, executives, but surprisingly even Bob Iger himself for how, of course, she did not deserve losing out on her multi-million-dollar deal, according to her. In addition to this, Zegler is now making a strong legal approach to her financial loss with the Walt Disney Company, since she viewed Disney as the foundation of her career, since all other films in the past have failed for her. The situation already worsened over time, where she is already demanding that some level of her contract deal that was never truly complete to be reimbursed after of course, quote-unquote, false promises. This is creating a conflict between the Disney board of directors, where they view this as a risk of both bad PR erupting along with internal conflicts that will loom in the very near future within the year. Now, guys, let me say one thing about the Walt Disney Company now. I am 100% confident that Zegler's contract was not 100% final, as she claims, against Disney. That's not me defending Disney by any means, but at the same exact time, you gotta realize this is exactly what happened with other actresses out there like Tatiana Maslany, Brie Larson, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, all of which, by the way, are or were Disney hires. And that really is very revealing because they all act in a very similar way. Even some actors out there like Mark Hamill and Mark Ruffalo got very aggressive with Disney, and we'll talk more about that perhaps later on in the week of what happened a couple of weeks ago. But interestingly enough, this is another scenario where you have Rachel Zegler, alright, claiming that her contract was all complete, that it was all written in stone. Look, she's got to realize that in the industry, sometimes everything is not written in stone. Some things are not 100% agreed on just yet, and that's where you have to really kind of realize that negotiations were still in place. So, interestingly enough, yet again, this is Rachel Zegler really putting a lot of pressure on the Disney heads, working to no avail, by the way, and it's not really, resonating with her at this point at all, based on, how the fans are reacting toward this movie, how the executives are pretty much in a downward spiral. It is a free fall for Snow White. They are pouring more money into this thing. They don't know what else to do. It's all basically survival mode at this point. Now, Zegler is also looking to, of course, gather other celebrities to stand by her side to take a stand against Disney as a desperate move to reinstate the projects that she was fired and removed from that led to her losing out on $25 million. Imagine that, $25 million between 5+ projects that she claims that she was promised and that it was embedded in her contract. Now, according to executives, this was not the case at all, and that the contract was not 100% final just yet. To make matters worse, for Zegler's situation is that both Iger and the executives are not budging at all, one bit, to Zegler's demands, and want nothing to do with her drama either behind the scenes or whatever ends up going public to the press. Zegler, regardless, is preparing an aggressive statement to be presented to the public about the Disney company. And gee, I can only wonder what that's going to be about. I'm sure it's going to be a lot about blaming toxic males, blaming a toxic, fan, driven group, if you will, at the same exact time. It's all rinse and repeat by a lot of these celebrities, a lot of these talents, whatever you want to call them. At the same exact time, this is a main reason why I always like to bring this up. I think that a lot of people out there should really not necessarily look up to celebrities like this, but should really look up to celebrities that really kind of respect people in general, and really just don't think about themselves. So when you look at things like this is another fine example of how Disney hired the wrong individual. They hired one that would literally just kind of shoot themselves in the foot, figuratively speaking, of course, and this is where things begin to kind of crumble, because now they don't know what to do with a foundation that is beginning to just implode, and that is Snow White 2025. Alright, it was between bad PR, bad social media posts by Zegler, internal conflicts, a lot of drama between different actors and actresses. The whole thing is just a mess, and we'll have a lot more to talk about that also later on in the week, so stay tuned. But interestingly enough, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.